Welcome to lecture 9 in the R module of the course Data Science for Engineers. Here we will look at the control structures in R. In this lecture, we are going to talk about if, else if family constructs, for loop, nested for loops, for loop with if break and while loop. Control structures can be divided into two categories. The first one is where you need to execute certain commands only when certain conditions are satisfied. An example of this control structure is if then else type of constructs. The second one is execute certain commands repeatedly and use certain logic to stop the iteration. Examples for this kind of constructs are for and while loops. First, look at if construct. What if does is, if checks for a condition, if the condition is satisfied, it will execute the statements that are in the if loop. The next level is if else construct, where we want to do certain operations if the condition is satisfied, and if not, we want to do some alternate operations. So the if else construct syntax looks like this. If the condition is satisfied, perform these statements, else perform these alternate statements. The next level is if else construct. So here you will have two things. If a condition is satisfied, execute this statement. Else if you check for another condition, if that condition is satisfied, execute this alternate statements. If both of them are not satisfied, then do something else. So the syntax is as follows. To illustrate this, if let us consider this example here. So we assign a value of 6 to x. We are checking if x is greater than 7. Because your value is 6 and we are checking a condition 6 is greater than 7, which is false, this statement will not be executed. Now it will check whether the next condition x is greater than 8. Again, this condition also fails because 6 is not greater than 8 and this part is not executed. Since these two parts are not executed, it will move to the else and then it will increment the value of x by 3. That means you have now x as 6 plus 3 is 9 and the value of 9 is assigned to x. When this piece of code is executed in R, you can see that the output is 9. Next, we move on to the for construct. To understand the for function, we need to understand what is a sequence function first. So let us see what is a sequence function. Sequence is one of the components of the for loop. That is the reason why we are looking at the sequence function now. Sequence function syntax is as follows. Sequence function contains from the starting number from which the sequence has to begin to the ending number with which the sequence has to begin. You can define the sequence by either providing the by or length. When you provide this argument by, it will specify by what increment or decrement the sequence has to be generated. When you provide this argument length, so what it does is it will create number of elements that are required from the starting number to the ending number. You can see the examples here. Let us now assume that I want to create a sequence from 1 to 10 and then I want by the width of 3. So the argument which I want to pass is by equal to 3. This will create 1 separated by 3 and then 4 and it leaves again 3 values and then 7 and then it leaves another 3 values and then 10. Instead, I can do the same by specifying the length. So the way you can do that is as follows. I want to generate a sequence from 1 to 10 which contains the 4 elements. So it will generate the same thing. So it will take from 1, it start from 1 and go up to 10 which contains 4 elements. Now if I want to say I want to create a sequence from 1 to 10 which is having a width of 4, this is how the output looks. Now let us move on to the for loop. The structure of for loop construct comprises of a sequence which could be a vector or a list, an iter which is an element of the sequence, and the statements that are needed to be executed. So if you see the structure of this for loop, iter in sequence, as we seen, iter is an element in the sequence. The sequence is a list or vector. For every element in this sequence, execute these statements is what this for loop construct is saying. So the next level of the for loops is a nested for loop. When you say nested for loop, it means we have one or more for loop constructs that are located within another for loop. The structure of the nested for loop is as follows. The for loop here is an inner for loop and the for loop outside is called outer for loop. For every iter 1 in the sequence 1, this for loop will get executed. It will go to the for loop 2 where it will perform these operations on sequence 2 for every iter 2 and return the output. To illustrate this for loop, we will have an example here. I am initializing number of elements to be 5 and sum to be 0. I am having a sequence which is starting from 1 and then ending at 5 with a width of 1. What I am doing inside the for loop is I am assigning sum plus I value to the variable sum inside this for loop and I am printing the I, which is the iter value in the loop, and the sum. When you execute this function, this is how it behaves. So you have n is equal to 5, it will keep it in memory. So when you execute and sum is equal to 0, it will initialize the sum to 0. For the first time it enters into the loop, it will take a value of 1 from the sequence and then you have already sum as 0, 0 plus 1 is 1 and it will assign value 1 to the sum. You can see that in the first iter or first iteration, the value of sum is 1. In the second iteration, you have the value of sum as 1. It will go to the next iteration, that is now the I value is 2. So you have already sum value as 1 and I is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3 and the value of 3 is assigned to the variable sum in the second iteration. You can see that value of the sum is 3 here and so on. Since the sequence runs up to 5, the sum will be 15 at the end of 5 iterations. Sometimes it is necessary to stop the function when you feel that the required condition is satisfied. This can be achieved using a break statement in the for loop. So let us see how to do this. I am assigning a variable value of 100 to the variable n and I am initializing the sum as 0. Now I want to stop the loop when the sum exceeds 15. How do I do that? So in the for loop, what you have to have is if break construct. So in the for loop, these are the statements that are available. For every iteration, I am adding this sum and then iter value and assigning it to the sum, and I am printing the vector which is containing the loop variable and sum, and I have to check a condition. If the sum is greater than 15, I will say break, because this is the condition which I want to break the loop. So this break statement, once executed, the program exits the loop even before the iterations are complete. So now let us see how these things work. So in the first iteration, the loop variable has a value 1 because it is sequence starting from 1 and the last value is 100 here. So we have seen in the previous example also, for the first time the value of the sum becomes 1 and it checks the condition if sum is greater than 15. Because sum value is 1, it is not greater than 15, the break statement will not be executed, and the break statement will not be executed until 5 iterations. When the iteration number 6 comes, sum value is already 15 and the iteration value now is 6. 15 plus 6 will become 21 and that 21 will get assigned to the variable sum. Now if this condition is checked, if sum is greater than 15, this condition is satisfied and the break statement get executed. Once this break statement get executed, the program quits from the for loop. Next we move on to another construct, which is while loop. A while loop is used whenever you want to execute statements until a specific condition is violated. You can see it as an akin to for loop with if break construct. Let us consider a sequence of natural numbers. You want to find a natural number n after which the sum of the natural numbers n is greater than certain final sum you want it to be. You will consider the same example as we have seen. I am initializing the sum as 0 and the initial variable I is equal to 0, and I want the final sum to be 15. This is how I write a while function. While sum is less than final sum, I want to increment the I value by 1 and then reassign it to the value I, and I also want to increase the sum by the iter value and then reassign it to sum, and then finally print the iteration value and the sum. These commands get executed until the loop variable has a value 4. Let us understand how does it works. For the first time, I is 0, it will check the condition sum is less than final sum. The condition is true. What it does is it will increment the I by 1. So I plus 1, which is 0 plus 1, you will get the loop variable as 1, and the sum is 0 plus 1. So sum also gets the value 1. Now this statement prints this first line. Now it will go to the next iteration. Now it checks whether the sum is less than final sum. The sum is 1, which is less than the final sum 15. It will go for the next iteration. It will update the value of loop variable and the value of sum variable. At the fifth iteration, what it does is you have a sum variable 15, which is equal to 15 but not less than 15. This statement is false and it will come out of the loop. So in this lecture, we have seen how the if else family of constructs can be coded in R and how to code for loops and while loops in R. In the next lecture, we are going to see how to perform basic graphics operations in R. Thank you.